Hey, what's going on YouTube? I wanted to talk about something I found very interesting on, yes, believe it or not, Reddit. I do peruse Reddit here and there to look for something interesting, and usually I don't find it. But now I'm not only stooping to scooping content off of Twitter, scraping the bottom of the barrel here, I'm actually scraping it now from Reddit. But this post was actually really good. I was actually very surprised to see this post and wanted to discuss a little bit about it because I think it pertains to a very common sentiment and a big problem actually with the fighting game genre as a whole, and it was actually a very insightful post. So let's go ahead and go over it and discuss our thoughts about this. This post is titled, "I finally realized I don't hate Street Fighter V, I hate bronze." Yes, this is a juicy one. I played the game off and on since launch and always found myself frustrated with the game. It just never felt right. I didn't have fun, but I wanted to enjoy it, which is why I kept coming back. I've been playing various fighting games since I was like 6 years old, close to 28 years. I've never taken them very seriously, but it's a hobby and a genre I enjoy, except Street Fighter V, and I cannot figure out why. Last night, I got invited to a lobby with some Grandmaster and Diamond players, which is very generous of them given that I was Super Bronze at the time of the invite. And while in my 10 matches, I only took a single round throughout the whole night, I realized I'd been playing the wrong game the whole time. I wanted to jockey for neutral, fish for whiff punishes, and play what I consider a gentleman's game, and that just fucking is not the experience in bronze. But I got that experience, and it was genuinely a blast. And once I realized I'd been playing the wrong game, I went back and ranked, and it was like seeing the code in the Matrix. That's definitely a phrase I've used a few times. Suddenly every mistake was so much more obvious. Bronze players just be doing things. There's no rhyme or reason to it, and that was my mistake. I expected them to play with purpose, and I respected them too much. Once I stopped respecting them, I slowly started shooting up. I'm only in silver now, but I'm seeing a stark contrast in the quality of matches. My losses are less frustrating because I'm not losing to people who just throwing out random things. I'm losing to people who are actually better than me. I'm getting the experience I wanted, and I'm thrilled to keep climbing and learning more. And I'm also so excited to fight people besides Ken. I think this is a really interesting post. I actually really enjoyed this post because I think it speaks to a super common problem that people have with not just Street Fighter V, but pretty much any fighting game when they're new to it and at a lower level. When you first start playing fighting games, a big part of the low level experience is literally just learning to punish people for doing unsafe things. Because this is the key component here, is that bronze players just be doing things. Yeah, they're just doing things. When people are at lower ranks in fighting games, they're doing what they know. And a big part of how to climb out of that rank is to not play the game. You're really not playing what the full vision of the game is like at that lower level. You're actually literally just forced to clean up after your opponent's mistakes. And that's why I covered that in certain videos. I've done a lot of videos kind of talking about lower rank meta and effective ways of leveling up, why you play worse against scrubs and high level players, kind of discussing the misconception that you play better against better players. But really, it's kind of like this guy's experience here. Better players actually just allow you to play neutral because they're not just trying to random you out. They're allowing you to actually play the game and play a safe, calculated approach. So you might lose slower. You actually get to play what neutral feels like for the first time ever. While you're stuck in bronze, this talks about how to deal with bronze level players, where basically the strategy is don't play the game. If you want to get out of bronze, my advice to you is don't play the game, just block and punish. Because people don't know how to play yet. How can you strategize against someone who doesn't even understand what they're doing? And then anti-air, right? That was my advice for people in bronze. Don't even play the game, just punish their mistakes. Eventually you'll get to a level where you're gonna have to actually play the game because people aren't just gonna give you free wins for mistakes. And then Your Rank is Accurate talks about misconceptions where people think they're better than they are. But really, this player who was stuck in bronze, he was bronze level because he had the wrong strategy. He was not focusing on punishing mistakes. He was trying to probably assert himself too much rather than just sit back and let players put themselves in bad spots and punish them for it. So I've talked about this topic a decent amount on this channel, but it's cool to see someone come to that realization pretty much entirely on their own here with this Reddit post, because I think it speaks to a lot of people's experience where they see what high level gameplay looks like, this slow neutral game, and they yearn to be able to play that. They yearn for that experience. They see people playing slow neutral, focusing on whiff punishing, anti-air, getting momentum, then applying their offensive pressure mix-ups, and it looks clean and it looks really interesting, and you can see the mind games going on between the two players. That only works when both players respect each other and understand that if you take sloppy, uncalculated, and unnecessary risks, either player will punish you for it. That's the only way that works. At the low level of almost every fighting game, no one has any idea what's safe or not, and no one has any idea what they're doing, so it's not going to look like that. Low level fighting games look ugly in a lot of situations. That experience is not the fun part of fighting games, I think. I think it's a big problem with the genre, and why I think other genres are a bit more fun at low level. When you're bad at a shooting game, I remember playing Halo 2 for the first time online. I got destroyed, but I was still running around and shooting at people, right? Like, I was still playing the game. I was very bad at it, but it still felt like I was playing the game. First time I played Street Fighter 4, I played arcade mode. I couldn't do anything. I got destroyed by CPU Zangief mashing Lariat and SPD, and I threw the game to the back of my shelf and forgot about it for 3 weeks because I hated it so much, right? You're not playing the game yet because you have to do a lot of homework to be able to start actually playing the meta game. And low-level fighting games often revolve around just learning the other opponent's options, right? So say you go into a ranked match and you're dealing with a Cammy player and they're doing random drill over and over and you don't know how to stop it. Say you finally figure out, okay, I can block here and punish this drill with maybe a sweep, right? Okay, great. I learned how to punish one move from one character. Now that Cammy player, you run into them again, instead of spamming drill, they start spamming DP. And you go, okay, wait, how do I punish the DP? Okay, I figured out how to punish. I can walk up sweep after blocking DP. Okay, I learned 2 punishes for one character. And then they might do a different option, right? You have to learn all these things about that one character to start punishing them to make them slow down a little bit. Okay, great. Now you go back into ranked again. Now you run into a completely different character doing completely different shenanigans. You have a Ken player who does random Tatsu into EXDP. Oh, I guess I gotta learn how to punish Tatsu on block. Is that punishable? Is it his turn? Should I just block after? So you have to chip away at all this game knowledge to slow people down from swinging for the fences nonstop before you can even learn yourself. Like, you don't get to learn about your own character, really. You don't get to learn about the neutral game or what you want to do. You have to focus completely on all the different knowledge checks being thrown at you from all these different directions. There's like 40 characters in the game, so many different moves to learn, so many different punishes. So the low level experience is very much homework, and that doesn't change. You know, I've been playing fighting games for a long time. I mostly played Street Fighter, but I started trying different games, and I played DBFZ very heavily in the first like 3 months, 4 months of the game once it released. And the low-level experience of DBFZ was very rough for me. It was very rough because that game is extremely oppressive at low level because you can just mash auto combos and harass people with that. You have to learn how to interrupt super dash on reaction and other things. If you aren't ready to stop people from mashing in DBFZ, you will not get to play. It doesn't take much skill to mash, you know, your light punch, your square button, or super dash, but it takes more skill to shut it down because that means you have to start learning how to play. So you have to learn how to stop people from not thinking before you can actually implement a mind game or implement actual neutral mix-ups, all that higher level components that you want to do in fighting games. You have to do the boring stuff first. But this person got to see, by playing high level players, how it could be like. And you know, the funny thing is, I don't usually recommend playing people who are really far outside of your rank. I feel like the optimal, like most of your time practicing matches should be against someone within like a 10% better or 10% worse than you range. You know, kind of within your skill level. Like, you want to play people who are better than you, but not so much better than you that they stomp you with nothing to learn. However, I do think that has some stipulations. Like, if you have someone who's playing with you in person or on a voice chat and they're actually trying to coach you and teach you things, and it's not just like random matchmaking with an anonymous player stomping you, I think that can be beneficial because they can guide you to certain concepts. Or just to get some perspective, like this person got to play 10 matches. That's not the majority of his gameplay time, but playing a few matches to see how it could be is definitely useful for perspective, I think. More than anything, I think it's inspiration to see, like, yes, if you get over this hump, it can get better. But yeah, I think that's a big problem with the genre. And, you know, it's not just a problem for me or a problem for this guy. I mean, this is a universal experience. Some other people have had some problems with it and took it in quite a different direction. So I also found this Reddit post. I'll let this guy remain anonymous. Deleted Street Fighter V and now I'm finally not mad. I'm moving on to other fighting games that I actually enjoy. Street Fighter V gameplay in neutral is not fun at all. And the ranked category is one of the worst ranked modes I've ever seen. I'm going to switch to other games like Grand Blue Fantasy, MK11, Guilty Gear, and maybe even Fightcade and any other fighting games on the market except Tekken 7. Honestly, I think Street Fighter V ranked mode is probably better than all of these, except for maybe MK11. I can't speak to that one. Grand Blue doesn't have rollback. MK11 I won't speak to, and Guilty Gear ranked is terrible. Absolutely garbage. So I don't know what he's thinking there. Good game, but the ranked mode is not good. This game is ass, and I hope they improve on the next game, Street Fighter 6, because this shit is ass. I don't care about the downvotes or Brian F fanboys trying to tell me that this is actually a good fighting game. I have no idea why I'm taking strays in this Reddit post. And Street Fighter V sweeps aren't real unless it's a crush counter, because it's not even a hard knockdown. I really thought when I first bought this game this was going to be the best fighting game I've ever played. LMAO, was I wrong? Wouldn't even put this above DBFZ. So DBFZ also catching strays, and Tekken. I don't know what happened with this Tekken 7 experience, but it sounds like he's starting to chip away at hating every single fighting game that is current in this generation. I don't know. He's already shut down Street Fighter V, DBFZ, Tekken 7. For some reason, I feel like all of these are next on the shopping block. But you know, he's taken the dark path from this point compared to the other guy who took the light path. He clarifies in this thread that he is a super bronze ranked player, and the other person was also in bronze rank. But this is how it could go, because I don't blame him for feeling this way at all. It's very difficult to figure out why you don't like things, especially when you don't have the vocabulary to describe it, or you don't really know what's going on. It's clear that this guy doesn't know what's going on in Street Fighter V that well. Like he's a lower ranked player, he's new at it, he doesn't understand the game that well. So it's difficult to put into words what you don't like about it. I don't blame him for that. But him saying that DBFZ is as bad or worse to him, it really makes me think of this low level or casual level experience when you're new to a fighting game, how it kind of sucks. I agree. When I first started playing DBFZ, it was I had a lot of frustrating moments playing against people who were obviously just mashing auto combo all day, doing random tags and random super dash, just constantly pressing things and not really thinking about what they're doing. They're just always doing something. And it's frustrating to deal with, because in the beginning you will lose to that stuff. I lost to it. It was very frustrating to me. And I've been playing fighting games for 10 years at that point at a competitive level, right? But I had to go through that process again, even as a very experienced Street Fighter player. I had to relive that whole experience when going to Street Fighter when going to DBFZ. And you have to get over that hump. So imagine someone who's not like a competitive level player trying out different games, right? It's a very frustrating experience. So I don't even blame him for getting this way. This is definitely full of scrub quotes, but I think it's a problem with the genre. It's hard to make, traditional fighting games really fun at low level. Like, even if the high level version of the game is very satisfying to play, it can be very difficult to get over that hump and really kind of get into that zone where you finally feel like both opponents, you and the opponent, are actually playing a mind game, actually interacting, actually understanding each other's options, and playing with each other's options and having good games. It's difficult. You have to get over the hump. You have to do the homework. So people always hate when I bring it up. I feel like this is one of the things that games like Smash solved, right? It's not a traditional fighting game, but there's a reason it's so successful from just a normal game perspective. At low level, Smash is fun. That's why people like it. It's easy to feel like you're actually playing the game, even if you're really bad at it or very new. That's why Smash works. And so I think platform fighters generally don't have as many restrictions as fighting games because of the nature of the inputs and just like the stipulations of the game, or don't fall off. It's much more intuitive. Like, you have a bunch of mobility options and a lot more chances for recovery and survival. So it's more intuitive at a lower level, even though I still think it has a really high skill ceiling. So that's good for those games. Now, I don't want fighting games to change to, become platform fighters, but it would be cool if there was more to address these issues. And I think that's where the casual content, the fun modes, the different ways to play the game, the tutorials come into play here, which Street Fighter 6 is definitely looking to address. Because all of these complaints, they all apply to Street Fighter 6. Sweeps aren't real. I'm pretty sure in Street Fighter 6, sweeps do not hard knockdown either. If this is his complaint, Street Fighter 6 is out the window, right? I don't think these complaints are at all about the game. These complaints are just about not being able to understand how to shut down nutty gameplay so they can actually access the neutral. I guarantee you, if you punish your opponents in bronze repeatedly for doing unsafe moves, they would either die and you would win, or they would be forced to stop and reconsider their approach and you would play neutral. Those are your two options if you're getting punished over and over for doing something unsafe. So I've done that in my Why You're Second Bronze footage. I had to make a new account on PC and go through all that. I had opponents who either died because I punished them over and over, or they would go, hey, wait a minute, I've lost 70% of my life doing the same move over and over. Maybe I need to stop and think for a second. So it's up to you to force your opponents to think. It is tough, it's not easy, but you're not alone in this frustration, and I'm hoping it improves for all players in the future, and hoping we have more content, modes, and tools within the game to help get over these difficult times when learning a new game. And that's all I got. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment or like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. We're getting close to 100K subs. It's like 10K more subs, the final stretch. So if you want to support the channel, I would really appreciate that. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.